right. Well, good to see you again, Kana. Congratulations on the recent victory. Just how you doing today? Genki desu ka?
はい。I'm very good.
Oh,
すごい元気で
awesome.
す。
Great to hear. And when you heading out? Because I know you're still in Japan, right? So a little late for you right now. But when you heading to the States?
アメリカには20日に出
Yeah, my
発する
plan
予
is to
定
leave
で、
Japan on the
その時差があ
20th
るんで、
and
そのまま
arrive in
20
the
日に
United
到着
States
す
on
る
the
という
20th.
感じです。
Okay, all right. So we'll be soon then. And I know you got to see Ryzen 28 before leaving. So having been there in the Tokyo Dome, how was the show, being there?
いや、めちゃくちゃ楽しかったで
It
す。
was a lot
なん
of
かそ
fun.
の
I felt like being
ファ
back,
ンに戻っ
being
た気持ちです
a,
ご
a,
く楽
a,
しめました。
a normal fan once again.
Right. Been a while since you could kind of just enjoy the atmosphere, and one like that is very cool. But Kana, it's funny since we last caught up, I feel like your popularity has risen a whole lot. And I mean, just since you've been with Bellator now, but you look at things like when I posted your frying pan GIF, that had over 500,000 views, which I thought was crazy. But just do you notice a big rise in your popularity since, becoming a part of Bellator?
そうですね。まだ実感はそんなに
Yes, I
わからない
haven't
んです
really
けど、
personally
私もその
felt
投稿していただいたフライパン
that,
の写
my
真を見
popularity
て、
is raising. I
それ
haven't
が
really
何回も何回
directly
も結
felt
構
it,
出てく
but
るの
I have
で、
seen your
すごい
posts
いろんな人が見て、
and
いろんな人
and
が
I
リツイートした
continue
り、
to
いい
see
ねして
that
くれ
post
てるなと
over
思っ
and
て、
over.
すごくそ
So
こ
I
で
kind
自
of
分
got the
の
idea, or
注
maybe
目さ
this
れ
is
て
a
るのかなっ
really
て思うようになりました。
crazy GIF, or maybe people are looking at me. I'm not sure, but I kind of got that idea after your post.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. And people were really drawn to that, which I think is funny because, that was from a while ago. It wasn't very recent.
はい、ありがとうございます。本当におかげ
Yes,
さま
Drake,
で
it's all you. I have to thank you
作っ
for
て
the
いただ
raise
い
of
てあ
my
りがとうございます。そのお
popularity,
か
if
げで
anything.
す。
Oh, geez. Now you're just being too kind. But anyways, Kana, as for the win over Alejandra Lara, great stuff there. And I know you were very harsh on your performance a little bit, at least not satisfied right after that fight. But haven't had time, couple weeks now, so many weeks to digest it, maybe watch it back. I don't know how you feel about it now. Feeling better?
そうですね。やっぱり試合の
Yeah,
内容と変わらず、
much time has passed,
もっとや
and
れ
I'm
た
looking at it
やれることとか、もっと練習し
very
てきたこ
calmly,
と
not
が
emotionally,
あ
and I still feel the same.
を出したかった
I
な
know
と
that there's a lot more that I could
ちょっ
have
と自分
done. There's a lot
の
of,
技術
in
面と技
hindsight,
術
there's a
不
lot of
足
things that I
に
could have done at a
すご
certain
い
point,
反省し
and
ました。
it just showed my lack of skill sets, and just digesting that and accepting that is very disappointing.
I mean, I think it's also good to be kind of self-aware like that and not maybe fabricating the performance and thinking it was perfect, right? Because, in the first round, there were some struggles there, right? And you made great adjustments though as the fight went on. So you take that away as a little bit of a positive though, the fact that you could adjust mid-fight, and kind of what was it like doing that? Was that a conscious effort or just kind of how the fight played out?
はい。やっぱりその一覧、
So I've always
一ラウンド目
been
の
sort
立
of
ち
a
上がり
slow
が
starter,
久しぶりの試合と
and
いうことも
the combination of that
もとも
fight
と結構後半
being
型
after
で
such a
勝
long
つが
layoff,
勝っ
I
てくるタ
think
イ
it
プ
made me even
なの
an
で、
even a
あ
slower
の自
starter.
然と
And
相手が
I
相手のスタミ
usually
ナが削れてく
start
る
to
の
take
に合わ
over
せて
once
自
I
分の調子
figure
が
out that my
上がってい
opponent's
って
fatigue. That's
上
when
がっ
I
てき
start
て
to step on the
自
gas
然
to
と
overwhelm
試
my
合の流
opponent
れがあったっていう
with
のもあったんですけ
uh,
ど、相手は結構疲弊してきた
when
のが
they're
分かったの
fatigued.
で、
So
こ
during
こ
that
でしっか
fight,
り自分
I
が
felt
攻
that
め
she
て
was
自分
getting
のペースで
tired,
持ってい
and
こうってい
I
う思い
kind
も
of knew
出
when
まし
I
た。
needed to step on the gas and take the fight to the next step. And so that's just kind of how I fight usually. And I think it just kicked in naturally.
Yeah, and with all that in mind, I'm sure that this has got to be a great feeling for you, right? That you can turn around so quickly again, kind of like you were doing to start your career.
そうですね、やっぱり試合が
It's very fortunate to have fights, because the
日頃
fight
練習してる
is
意味
it
もないの
gives me
で、
a reason for my
試合ができる
everyday
ことはすごく
activities.
嬉
I
しい
practice,
で
but
す
if there's
し、
no
や
fight,
っ
I
ぱりこ
can't
の
show
短期
what
間
I
で試合
practice
が組ま
for.
れるというこ
So
とは、
I'm very
やは
grateful
り
for that. And
自分はすごく初めてな
although
ので、
it's
そういうふうに
the
求め、団
the
体に
time
求めら
between
れてるの
fights
か
is
な
a
と
little short,
思っているので、
I I like to stay positive, and I do believe that, you know, they're giving me this call because they need me. And, you know, I want to be a team player, and I just want to feel, I just want to stay positive, and I feel that they need me, and that's why I'm fighting so often.
Absolutely. I mean, you're number 3 in the division already, which is really cool to see. And it's funny, Kana, the Kana Army, as your fans have started to call themselves, a very strong bunch. They pointed out to me that they feel the Bellator surface, like of the cage, the mat, seems to be a little bit slippery in their opinions. And just they're wondering, kind of, is it hard for you to set up your trips because of the surface? Is this something you've noticed in 2 fights with them now?
そうですね、ベラトールの
So all the platforms that I've fought in throughout my career, I mean, obviously they use cloth canvas, right? So I think I feel that all of the canvases are quite slippery for me. Specifically that last fight, I think it's because I've been off the mat so long. I've forgotten how it felt like. And the combination of me having dry feet doesn't help the situation at all. So I think that's what, you know, the people saw.
思ってますね。すごい滑ります。でも
Yeah, maybe just have to adjust to it a little bit. We'll see how it goes in this next one. But it's funny too, Kana, because like a lot of women, it seems that a common technique among them might be, you know, that head and arm hip throw, which very popular in judo with the modified uchimata. And you know, you being a judo specialist, though, you don't really seem to use it that much compared to maybe some other people. Is there a reason for that, or just you don't find the moments for it?
そうですね、いわゆる
So first of all, I wasn't even during my judo days, I wasn't the best head and arm throw. Like I didn't utilize those throws too often. And especially in MMA, I try to stay away from those throws. Just because of the simple fact that it risks giving up the back. And I don't like being in the kesa position after you complete the throw. And the more the technique becomes popular, the more defense and counter technique that develops for that particular skill. So my goal is to kind of use and utilize the unpopular tricks from judo, like the small trips. There's all sorts of leg trips that are utilized in judo that aren't popular in MMA yet. So my goal is, I haven't showed any of that yet, but I'm definitely trying to utilize them into the MMA fight.
Okay, that's very interesting, and that makes a whole lot of sense actually, because I think that you're right. We've seen people kind of catch on to that a little bit, but it's also funny you mentioned that because Ayaka Miura, who I know you've trained with before, she's very, very good at that, and all of her recent wins have pretty much ended in that position, and you know, she's submitting people left and right that way. And so, having trained with her a little bit, has it helped you, both of you, improve a little bit in these areas that, you know, you're trying to avoid or trying to go to, like she often does?
そうですね、でもあんまり投げについては
I train with Ayaka, and we spar more than just kind of trade technique. We spar more, and then in terms of throws, we don't really, you know, talk about, because we share the same assets. When we train together, we train more of the assets that we don't have. Like we teach wrestling. I learned wrestling from somebody else, and we just kind of learn different assets that we need to work on. So we don't really talk about the judo throws and whatnot. But I think the reason why Ayaka is so successful with her throws and that kesa position is because she was already good at it. That was her bread and butter. That was her go-to move, and she's already perfectioned it, and that's why she's utilizing it so successfully. But for me, even in judo, that was not my go-to move, and for me, if I tried to be like Ayaka, I'd be definitely be in trouble.
Right, just kind of practice making perfect in that case, definitely. So, but speaking of your training though, Kana, I've noticed that it seems like you train a lot or mostly with men, and I don't know if that's just from what we see in posts or anything, but is that a preference of yours or just kind of how it is?
もう練習相手はほぼ全員男
So yeah, you
子
are correct.
で、女
I
子の選手とほと
mainly
んど
and
や
mostly
らない
train with
ですけ
men
ど、
only.
ってい
And
うよりかは
one of the reasons
あ
why is
希
because when I
望は
started,
そうですね、私が
there's just not that
推
many
薦してやりたいっていうのもあ
female
るんですけど、
flyweight competitors,
まあ、そのも
and
ともとは日
whoever
本で戦
I
っ
can
てた
spar
の
with
で、
that are
やっ
my
ぱり
size
私
are
の
all
階級
potential
の女
opponents.
子の選手は
So I
全員
couldn't
対戦
train
相
with
手
them.
候補に
And
なって
you
し
know, when
ま
I
う
first started MMA,
というのもあっ
so
て、
the only people I could train with
軽量
were
級
the
の男子
lighter
と練習
men.
するようにしたのが
And that routine just
きっか
kind of
けで、
stuck,
そこからず
and
っと
I haven't
同じ
broken
練
that
習ルー
routine
ティン
since.
でやって今に至るという感じです。
Yeah, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So, got a good thing going. And did you still train in the gi at all, or and if you do, how does training in the gi kind of help you in the cage where there is no gi?
今はほとんど同
So
時
yeah,
して
recently I
ないです
haven't
ね。
been
まあ
training with the gi at
たま
all.
に
I mean,
柔
I
道
want
と
to
か
get
はやり
back
たい
into
んですけ
training
ども、
judo, like
その
straight
日本
judo
がま
again.
だ
But
コロナ
you know,
の
since
状
this
況が
pandemic,
良くない
you
の
know,
で、
the
柔
people
道の
in
練
the
習がな
judo
かな
sport,
か
they've been very
閉鎖的で
conservative,
行
and
けてな
they're
い、
not opening
受け
up
入れ
training
結構外部
to
からの受け
other
入れを禁止
people
しているところが
from
多く
outside
て、
the team.
柔道の練習
So
も
I've
ずっ
been
とで
wanting
き
to
て
go
ないです。
back and
道
get
着ば
back
っか
into
り
judo
ですね。
training, but I haven't been able to because of the pandemic. So I've been training mostly no gi this entire time.
All right, yeah, just a matter of time then. I'll have to wait on that. But I wanted to ask you about this too last time we caught up, Kana. But in terms of the rules difference from Japan and then going to Bellator, is that been difficult to transition at all? I mean, how has that been? Because things are obviously fairly different from going to Ryzen and then Bellator in terms of strikes that you can use, how the fights are scored. What has it been like adapting to the rule differences?
そうですね。あまりないですね。今の
So
ところは
right now, I
困
haven't
ったことはな
struggled
くて、
at all
ちょ
in
っと
terms
サ
of
ッ
the
カーボー
rule
ルキッ
changes.
クとか、
Obviously, I
振り
have
付
to
け
be
とか
careful
が
about the
なんか
soccer
4
ball
点一
kicks,
色
face
がダ
stomps,
メな
and
ので、そ
you
こ
know
だ
knees
け
to the
注
head of
意
a
し
grounded
て、
opponent. Those are the
あ
things that
と
I
は
have to
特に
be
変わ
aware
らず、
not to do, obviously.
あまり気
But
にしすぎないよう
I
に
try
して
not
や
to
ってます。
stress too much over it because it'll kind of mess up my mind. I just want to keep it natural. But as of right now, I haven't struggled about in that at all.
Yeah, we've seen that. So looking good in regards to that transition. But how has kind of the weight cut process been too? Is it harder to do that in the US? Because I know we saw you in the portable sauna for your last fight, and maybe the first one is no, that one was in Japan, but the last one. So was it difficult a little bit more last time?
そうですね。結構大変でした。
So
なんか日本
yeah,
だと
back in Japan, I had my usual routine where I would
体をあったかく
train in
した
a
中
warm
で最
room.
後
Like I
動
would
いた
put
り
the
と
heat up
か、
in my room
あと
and
半
train there,
身
move
浴をし
around,
たり
and
とか
and
が
I
あ
would
るんですけ
usually
ど、
do
それ
take
が
a
ちょっ
hot
と湯
bath.
船がなかったり、
And
トレーニングする
my
場所が
last
ちょっと
fight,
そんなにあったかくなかったり、
the
と
training
かでちょっと
space
環境
was
の
it
違い
was
があっ
really
て、
big,
つ
so
ま
it was
りちょっと
hard
苦
to
労し
get
まし
the
た。
room temperature up high as I'm used to. And I ran into some issues where the hotel didn't have a bathtub, so I had to adjust that. And yeah, just the environment change was definitely a challenge.
Well, at least you might know a little bit more what to expect now going into this next one. And the next one, it's Liz Carmouche, who is a very notable name in the MMA world, been a part of very historical moments. So, just curious, have you been watching Liz for a while? She's been kind of hard to miss, but what do you think about getting her as your next fight? Pretty big one.
そうですね。やっぱり、もう自分より
Yeah, so for me, it was an honor for me to get that offer, because for me, I just want to compete against higher profile people. I want to compete against people with a significant status. So for me, getting that Liz Carmouche offer was an honor, and me personally, I was very happy about it. And I think obviously it's a fight between ranked number 2 and number 3. So I think the winner might get a potential title shot. And for me to receive that spot, I couldn't help but think maybe the Bellator brass has some hopes in me, or I couldn't help but to think that in a very positive way.
Yeah, certainly safe to assume. I mean, you also got the co-main event slot, so looks pretty good, pretty promising. Seems very logical to me, but we'll see how it plays out. But with all that in mind, Kana, like, would it be a lot more special to you to get a finish in this fight because of the status of your opponent, or do you try to treat these fights mostly as the same?
そうですね。結構私
Yeah,
は
so I don't really
どこの試
care
合もしっか
about
り
the status of the fight.
目
It's
の前
just
の
how
試
I
合をしっか
look
り
at
やるって
fights.
いう
I don't care about the
ス
fight
タンスでい
order.
つもやってるの
I
で、
just really
あま
want to
り試合
focus on the
順
fight
の
that's
ことと
handed
か
in
も
front
考
of me,
え
that's put
て
in
な
front
く
of
て、
me.
た
I
だ
want to focus on
自
that
分
and
の
I want to
全
do my
力をしっか
best
りつけ
to
て
perform at the
勝
best
つことに集
with
中
the
してま
fight
す。
that's put in front of me.
Absolutely, can't blame you there. And in a matchup like this one, Kana, where she's a very strong wrestler, you're a very strong judoka. Is that an area that you kind of hope the fight goes to, where you can see these styles clash, or are you mostly going to try and strike with her, maybe get another knockout like you did against Shizuka Sugiyama with the right hook? I mean, are you looking to take it anywhere specific?
そうですね。個人的には
So
組んで
basically,
寝技で勝負したいとは
I
思ってい
would
るんで
love
すけ
to
ど、
grapple with her just to see
ま
what
た
I
打撃
can
もい
do
ろいろちょ
against
っと
such a tough grappler.
対策したりやっ
But
てきたこと
I
が
have
ある
been
の
working
で、
on my striking.
打撃
So there's a part of
も
me
しっ
where
かり
I
やっ
want
て
to
いきたいな
challenge
と
to see
思
what
っ
I
てます。
can do, in a striking battle with her.
Yeah, definitely. And looking forward to seeing it. So, yeah, very excited, Kana. And I will, wrap up here. It's taking plenty of your time. I know it's later on over there, so I appreciate it greatly. But one last thing, Kana. I mean, what do we got to do to get you walking out with the frying pan for this next fight? How do we make this happen?
そうですね。フライパン OK にな
I
る。
think the best way is that you lobby against the Bellator operations staff and the commission so that they will allow me to walk down with a frying pan and not take it away before
フライ
the
パン
walkout.
持ち込み OK になるように、ちょっとベラトールの方に言っていただければ生きると思います。
We got to make this happen because the people love it. I think it'd be a good idea to, Uwe Full Swing. He's got his baseball bat. People have certain items. You can become the frying pan girl.
はい、よろしくお願いします。
I'm counting on you.
Okay, we'll make it happen, Kana. So, all right, we can leave it off there. I appreciate it so much taking the time, Kana. It's always fantastic getting to talk to you. One of my favorite fighters to watch right now. Very much looking forward to this fight. Big one. Wishing you all the best. And, just a big thank you again. Big arigato gozaimashita. Sure, we will catch up again soon, sometime after the fight. And until then, safe travels. Hope you have a nice, smooth flight, all that stuff, smooth weight cut, everything. And we'll be tuning in. Best of luck.
はい、ありがとうございます。ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Oh, hey, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you like this video and want to see more like it, give it a like and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, we'll see you next time.